Hiya. Welcome to a supplementary piece for the Serendipitous Deck sermons. This being something that just came through as like writing, so I'm going to be reading it out, which I'm not always great at. Also, literally my writing. It's like, anyway. What it is a practice of is specifically dealing with one's self-worth. And it begins in a more personal place, and then I get into a very specific practice that you can use for yourself, so that you know the kind of flow of this. And thank you for being here. Those of you who follow me, please follow yourself instead. Hope you can hear me over the rain, but I'm kind of glad for the ASMR. Okay. I am a being here to raise the awareness of your own self-worth. I work on and continue with my own, always. We learn a lot together, me, myself, and I, and what I provide is for every version of me before that didn't have guidance by another human or awareness of the entities available for inner guidance. I speak to and for her benefit. I am them, the being she needed and was within, but didn't know it yet. Where I have been was beautiful because it was life, my life. I accept it, and I love me for living it, so I could be here now in this moment to know myself, my guides and guardians, my energy, and that which I get to experience through the human form every day and every night. I want this self-love, this self-acceptance, this love for the path for us all. Not only is it our duty to be aware of our effect on all of existence through our own living, our own words, our own actions, our inactions, and energy, but it is also our right to feel how seen and how loved we are by something more than what we see in the 3D, the tangible human form, and all that we inhabit Earth with. We are tapped into, yet unaware, and it hurts to watch the treatment of ourselves and other life forms suffer because of our chosen and supported ignorance of this. We are magic. You matter. How does it feel in your body when I say that? In your mind. Sit with that. You matter. So what arguments do you hear as you say this to yourself? Whose voice comes up when you attempt to believe that? You matter. What fears do you feel? What fears are triggered? What memories? Now, observe. Don't cast judgment. We all in this current, we all in this current way of existing will have an internal struggle to fully take on those words. That shows us where we personally and collectively are when it comes to knowing and living this fact. You matter. Who does this make you feel anger towards as you realize that you matter? Again, observe. It is okay to have every and any reaction and response to this. That's yours. Observe it. As you do, realize what comes up. Realize what comes up to pull you away from believing this or knowing it is a part of you that remembers the pain and hurt that you have experienced in this life that led you to believe that you don't. those who your anger was pointed at when I asked you are entities that have affected this belief, this knowledge. Processing this anger and releasing it in a healthy way is a healthy move. Bringing any more energy towards those who come up is not worth your attention or time, though. Alchemize this. Transmute it into what brings you strength. Tearing of another uses up energy that is available to you to use for cultivating change out of what you have experienced. Have patience in this process as you transmute negative to positive, and remain in giving it to you, the parts of you that deserve to be loved and healed and nurtured. Recognize the internalized belief. Sorry, my ear started ringing. Recognize the internalized disbelief. Oh, thank you for showing me that I said that wrong. Of your inherent self-worth. Recognize the internalized disbelief of your inherent self-worth. These parts that use your own mind, own voice, or the effective voice of others, past or present naysayers possibly, to cut in when you speak that you matter. They though put their... Oh yeah, they are put there by our current external. They are held within you by your will to avoid future pain. The ego cuts in as a protective method to keep you from believing you're worthy of more, so that you don't have to experience disappointment again. But it's momentary preservation that then long-term stops you, if you let it, and keeps you from what you are worthy of. It speaks in fears. You have the ability, through observing, you have the ability, through observing, to begin hearing it be triggered, and then hearing it cut through your practice in believing and knowing in your precious self-worth. This is where you listen to it, and then answer it gently. Something I practiced was also hearing the voice in my head. I remember I was driving when this happened as well. Something I practiced was also hearing the voice in my head. I pictured it and heard it speak. And then I saw me turning around from where I was facing forward out to the road, within and directly facing it. And I said nothing, but I wrapped my arms around the voice and held it. I loved it. I gave love. Yes, it's trying to protect. Yes, it causes us to live in fear. And yes, it is also our pain. It's our hurt. Hug it. Give it love. Accept it. And thank it. And then hold their or its hand and say, you are within me, but you don't get to be in charge anymore. I love me and my existence and my growth too much to allow you to continue believing you're not worthy. I love, and I know that there's pain, but if you direct it all through painful, if you direct all of my life through painful pasts, then my future only holds pain in its center. Let us work together and hold love and self-worth in the center. Knowing pain happens anyway, but does not define me. Not anymore. Okay, now this is a practice in that it takes as many times. Oh yeah, this is a practice. Oh, literally, I'm pushing the camera. Whoops. In that it takes as many times as it takes to set in and become habit. It does become habit. I promise you that. Patience with yourself here. Being hard on yourself will happen. And don't engage. The internal voices, for me, personally, changed character. Like, they started to use different people that voice would affect me because they were like onto the fact that I had now identified over time. So it'd continue to I'd continue to be affected by them. It was manipulative. This takes time. And I guess staying tuned in. I'm going to keep reading. And you internally may be the only place in your world or existence that is speaking or acting in this way. See the importance of it more as you see and witness how not of this vibe and not of this practice our current society is. That's why it matters. And this is why it matters to continue internally, no matter what happens around you, because this is where you have control. This is where you live. And for those only listening and not watching, I am pointing to my own body. And your own body is where you live. That is where you have control. This is where it all begins. This is your own front line in a distraction-filled, manipulative, profit from low self-worth humanscape we currently live in. This is the act of the spiritual warrior. You matter. Watch how much you understand. Oh yeah, this is the best part. As you grow with this practice, watch how much you understand that sentence develop and grow through this process. Because you think you understand, oh, I matter. But you can only understand that from the current perspective that you hold over your understanding of self-worth. And it grows and it expands. It's 2 words. I swear to God, they will be redefined continuously as you grow. It'll expand to a place that you can only see as you allow yourself to. Allow yourself to know this. Not only believe it, to know it. It takes the time that it takes. Oh yeah, this was like mantras or affirmations, if you will, but things to remind yourself through this process when the being hard on yourself tries to take hold and make you think that you're like not doing it. It's another way that your ego is trying to use fear of believing this for you to like know it and believe it. So it takes the time that it takes. I am supported. I am supported. I am supported. As many times as you want to say in a day, say that. I am seen. I am seen. The work I am doing within is seen. What I am shifting, here's another one, because it's a visual that is like been a part of my growth process and fully came back to like right now. I'm like, oh yeah, this has to be a part of it. So what I am shifting is akin to a mountain's growth. It takes the time it takes. I am patient. I am steady. I am in every cell built for this path that I am living. And then that's all I wrote. That's all she wrote. So no card. just a being who's really come to the point of like, oh, that's why so much of my journey has been about cultivating and understanding self-worth and the growing of self-love and self-acceptance over everything. Radical self-acceptance. Radical self-acceptance is what unconditional love is made of. Loving yourself unconditionally is accepting your whole self, shadow and light, continuing shadow work, continuing light work, but also believing in the light within you as much as you believe in the shadow within you. Because I've met many a person that seems wise, but they tend to be very adept in believing in their shadow side, believing in the lesser self-view, because then they don't have to own up to what it is they're capable of. That comes from fear, and that's okay. It's okay to have that. Like, what I'm speaking about here is a lifetime possibly of work for some people. It's, I mean, in a sense, an always relationship that you then hold inside of yourself. And like, as we create a new way of being human or existing as the universe's new projection, if the human form doesn't, you know, exist anymore or whatever, it will always be a continued relationship of self-acceptance and self-love. Ignoring the fact that you're worthy so that this world is easier to live in. I understand it. It's how it's survivable for some people, but it also continues to reflect out that it's okay for the world to be set up this way in the human version of it, and therefore then in its effect, because we've pretty much populated everywhere and affect every life form at this point. When we start to realize our power, but also the responsibility that power, not a Spider-Man line, for it, the universe has created all of these things through other people, whether it comes from a Spider-Man line or Dan Millman's Peaceful Warrior film. Nothing is more profound than the other. It's art. It is projected through a human, therefore it matters somehow, right? It's an expression. There is a responsibility to this, and I think it's beautiful that we've come to a place where we're starting to really go like, oh my god, I can manifest stuff, but you have to also believe that you are worthy of that beauty, of that magic, when you begin a journey of manifestation. But that means that you're also available to then realize that you're worthy. Therefore, everyone else and everything in existence is worthy. Therefore, the fuck is this human setup that we've got going on? Let's make it better. It starts here. There's no going back as well. Evolution just continues. You can't put the smoking back inside of the cigarette. Mr. Nobody. Okay. If you haven't watched that film as well, I think I suggest it. I haven't watched it in a few years, so follow your intuition. Don't follow me. Follow yourself and your higher self. Okay.